Hey guys, I'm Deepthi Desikan, and in this video we're going to be doing dupes for a high-end makeup. So pause the video and let me know which one is the high-end side and which one is the affordable side. Let me see if you can get it right. So anyways, I have some popular products in this. I just wanted to make this video for people who are on a budget. People are always looking for alternatives and just in general trying to discover new affordable makeup and believe that, price doesn't mean better the product. Just on a lookout for really good products. This video is for you. Of course, if you are someone who likes only high-end products, if you stick by these products no matter what, I don't think this video is for you. It's okay if you don't really like a video, don't really like some products, but don't come and give me a lecture of, why I should be not making these videos, why I shouldn't call this one to be a dupe and all of that, because for me it is. I've swatched it, I have worn this for the longest time and I know how these products perform, and I feel like these are good alternatives. Okay, if they're not the exact same thing, sometimes they are good alternatives, sometimes even better than the high-end product. And I have a channel where I cannot just keep recommending a certain category of products and a certain price range of products. I have to always keep in mind people who are on a budget, people who are looking for alternatives, people who just want to experiment, So I can't just keep sticking to one category and one genre of makeup. And I myself, being a makeup enthusiast, I like to try out a lot of different products. I like to see what is there in the market and test it out. Anyways, let's get started with the video. Okay, now starting off with primer, I have this glowish primer. Now starting off with primer on the high-end side, I have this one from Glowish. This one is their Blur Jam Primer, and I'm not sure if this will be available any further because of the statement from the brand that they might be discontinuing, I think, Glowish line on the whole. So I thought I'll try it out when, I could find it on Cult. So it has a very different texture. It's supposed to be like a pore filling, like a blurring primer, but I don't find it to be the case. This is how the texture of it looks like. So it looks different, but once you take it up on your fingers, it's like this. So it should just be like any other silicone based primers, I feel like, that can just be blurring on the skin. I mean, it's pretty decent. I wouldn't say it's a very bad primer, but it doesn't do much for me, I feel like. And for the price and everything, I'm just not justifying it. So I feel there's a good alternative for that from Renee. This one is their Bollywood filter. This is also like a very blurring primer. That is how it is marketed by the brand. But I feel like this is a pretty good dupe for that glowish primer. And I feel like both of it can be used all over your face, but it might not be as hydrating or dewy as you would like. But if you have very oily skin and you want it to just look a little bit more matte all over your face, you can try it out. But I just use it just towards my T-zone, and you can see that the Renee primer is a very good contender for the glowish primer itself. And for color corrector, I have the Smashbox Becca color corrector. This one is in the shade medium dark, and I like this. Okay, it has a little bit of a dewy finish, and so if you have very deep set eyes or if you have very sunken eyes, I feel like it looks a little bit too dewy, and sometimes the concealer you use on top of this can clash with it. I mean, it can or it might not, so just keep that in mind. And a comparatively good alternative or dupe for the Smashbox color corrector is from e.l.f. This one is a recent launch. This one is the e.l.f. Putty color correcting eye brightener. I got this one also in the shade, I think, medium dark. Let me just show you. This is the Smashbox one. So you can see it is a little bit luminous. A lot of people say there is minute shimmer particles in this. I've tried to swatch it on a different light, but I can't really spot the shimmer as such, but because it is that fine. So that's a good thing. Even if there is shimmer, it has to be non-visible, that is what I feel like. It doesn't exaggerate anything or look bad once you apply it. Now this one, you could actually ideally apply it with a brush because of that sticky texture. It can form patches. Your fingers will leave that impression on it, so just use it with a brush for better application. So this is, like I mentioned, a tricky corrector, meaning it can the products on top of this might or might not sit well because of the texture of this, and it's quite sticky, so it can fill up the product on top of that. So I actually ideally prefer the liquid correctors better over this. So on this side, I'm going to be using my e.l.f. Putty brightener. So right off the bat, you can see The e.l.f. one doesn't have that sticky hard texture to blend, so it's very easy to apply with your fingers as well. It's very lightweight. And also the e.l.f. corrector doesn't have that much of a pigment like the Becca one does. This is a little bit more sheer, and it has a very thin consistency. Even though it is like a putty texture, it's not very thick, so it's very easy to work around it. But if you have very intense dark circles, I'm not sure if it would work for you. It might, okay, like it might, but I'm not sure. But for my dark circles, I feel like the e.l.f. one is so much better, and it's so much more easier to handle than the Smashbox one. And also the shade in the Smashbox one, I feel like is a little bit too orange, but you can see this looks so natural on my skin, but the Smashbox one looks a little too orange, you know. So yeah, next up, moving on to foundation, I have the Nudestix Tinted Cover Foundation. This is my go-to everyday foundation. I had used this for months together, and I put it aside intentionally to use my other products. So this is a really good product, and I feel like something that is very similar to this is from Staze. This one is their HD Glow Poreless Matte Foundation, and I have this one in the shade 315N, and the Nudestix I have in the shade Nude 6. So I'll just apply this on my face, and then we'll talk about the Staze one. So this has a very like liquidy, runny consistency, and it's not a very full coverage product. It's a very good product for day-to-day use, but it looks very beautiful and polished on your face. It looks like, you know, you know what you're doing. You're using very expensive products on your face. That's how it looks. I mean, it is expensive. It's not like it's very cheap, but I got it on a pretty good discount, and I don't regret it one bit because I got really good use out of this product, and I like it. I like the way it looks on my face. I like this shade match. It is a little bit darker, as you guys can see, like from my neck, it is a little bit darker, but it masks the pigmentation. It doesn't look ashy on my face, and also it's a very lightly pigmented product, so it doesn't look very stark on my face. So it doesn't look very stark. I'm blending it with a mask brush. Can you see how effortlessly and easily it blends? That's how much effort you actually need to use this. So that's why I mentioned that it's a very good everyday product. Oh my god, I just noticed that the shade actually is a little bit dark. Like on camera you can't see it as much, but in real it does pull a little bit orange on my face. And because there is a shadow that is forming on like under my chin area, it might look like it's a pretty good match, but on camera it looks like a perfect match for my skin. That's the reason I use this when I'm filming and everything. But there are some lighter shades that I use like on my day-to-day basis. Anyways, that's not the point of this. You can see how beautiful, how skin-like it looks. It has a little bit of a glow as well. It would work for any skin type pretty much. It has sort of light medium coverage, not the most in terms of coverage, but ideally I don't think you'd be using a product like this for like coverage sake, but you'd be using something like this for day-to-day usage. Okay, now on this side I'm going to be using the Staze product. This also has a very similar shade like the Nudestix one. On camera it looks like a perfect match for my skin tone, but in reality it's a little bit too orange. Can you see that swatch? Yeah. So it has that similar consistency, similar kind of finish like the Nudestix one. I feel like it's not as pigmented as the Nudestix one. Like even the Nudestix is not supremely pigmented, but compared to that, this is a little bit more sheer and a little bit more runny. So I would ideally like to take another squeeze of this. And now blending the Staze foundation with this mask 4-in-1 brush. Can you see that finish? This is what I'm talking about. But this one is a little bit more pigmented than the Staze foundation itself, but this is like super everyday friendly product, very affordable, and also a pretty good shade range. Not the best, but not the worst again. I mean, like it's not just like 4 shades or something. So I really like it. It looks very skin-like, but sort of lighter in terms of coverage than the Nudestix one. So I will try to build it up just to make sure it looks a little similar. I'm not like going to just do it off camera and just sneakily get the coverage up, but yeah, I have to take about at least 2 full squeezes of that product to get it to the pigmentation of the Nudestix one. But I feel like the finish is what I'm talking about, is quite similar. And also both of these have a different kind of scent. The Staze one has a very familiar floral makeup scent that used to be there in makeup products back in the day, like most Lancome products and all of that. So just an FYI. So yeah, this is the finish, and now you guys tell me if it looks similar or not. So for concealer, I have this one. This is the Lancome Tint Idole Ultra Wear concealer. This is one of my favorite concealers of late, the one that I've talked about the most, the one I reach out for the most. And this foundation, this concealer, all of it like fall under similar shade category. Like I wear this all the time just on its own as well, and because of the shade, it kind of masks the pigmentation, corrects it a little bit as well. It's a little bit light in terms of the coverage as well as the texture. The consistency of this is a little bit thin. The coverage is a little bit lighter than expected, but I like it for that. You know, it looks very natural. It doesn't crease, doesn't cake, doesn't fade away quickly. Now blending it with this mask highlighter brush, which is actually for highlighter, but I'm going to be using it for concealer. That finish, and look at the blendability of it. It was so quick to just blend this all over. Combination of that foundation, the concealer and everything. If you add on the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer, it's like a match made in heaven. You look so put together and your makeup would just last throughout the day so beautifully. And then on this side, I'm going to be using the NYX Bear With Me Concealer Serum. This is also one of my absolute favorite concealers. And I feel like the finish, the way it looks on the skin is quite similar to that. I mean, this is a little bit thicker than that concealer itself. Spreadability, but the coverage and everything is there. The lasting power is there. So I like it for that. So this is how the finish looks like. Even the Lancome one has a little bit of a dewy finish. Even the NYX concealer has that same finish. It looks so beautiful, and I feel like gives really good coverage. A very good contender for the Lancome concealer. And if you wanted that similar finish in an affordable product, you can try this one out. Just look at that. Both the sides look that good. Like you can't even differentiate which one is what. And then for contour, I have the Charlotte Tilbury Contour Wand, which is one of the most natural contouring, is one of the most natural looking contour products I own. And no matter how overboard I go with this one, it's very, very easy for me to blend it, fix it. So it also adds a beautiful shadow. Like, look at that. That's how easy it is to blend this product. And it adds that beautiful chiseled out cheekbone effect. On the affordable side, I have the e.l.f. Halo Glow Beauty Wand Contour in the shade Light Medium. I didn't pick up anything deep because I'd like it to be very subtle. I don't want to spend a lot of time just blending out my contour products, especially when I have a foundation on and then I'm going to use contour. If I'm underpainting, maybe it's okay, but otherwise no. So you can see this also adds a very subtle contour. Because my foundation is so dark, it's actually not showing up great. Much lighter than the Charlotte Tilbury one, but it's very easy to blend this one too. I still like this side better, but this is a very good contender. It's very easy to blend, and I just blended this product out in no time. And then moving on to blush. On this side, I have the Rare Beauty Liquid Blush, and this one is in the shade Believe. Now, the dupe that I have for this is the e.l.f. Liquid Blush in the shade Suave Mauve. As you guys can see, they are a little bit different. I feel Believe is a little bit more cool toned than e.l.f. itself. Let me just swatch it on my hand and show it to you guys. This is the shade Believe. This is their dewy formulation. So it's not matte, but it doesn't have any like shimmer or anything of that sort. And the e.l.f. one has minute shimmer particles, as a couple of you guys pointed it out, and I had to like look at it in different lights and like in natural light and everything. So it's so minutely done, like it's so minutely infused in it, you can't really make out. And even on the face, it doesn't look bad. It doesn't like cling on to any texture on my face, or not like, you know, when the blush is faded away, there's not shimmer particles and you can't really see it. So it's very, very minute, and this is how it looks like. This is Rare Beauty and this one is e.l.f. So you can see this one is a little bit more on the purple tone, and this has a little bit more pink to it. Both are like mauve shades, both are cool toned, but what makes the e.l.f. one a little bit more wearable is because of the pink in it, and it makes you just look so much more healthier. So I'm applying the Rare Beauty one on the side. For me, the Rare Beauty ones don't last on my face. I have tried out a couple of different shades. I have even like the very like deep shades and the matte formulation. The matte one is a little bit more long lasting than the dewy formulation in my opinion. It does fade away significantly faster, And let me just show you, but it's easy to blend. It looks beautiful on the skin, but I wouldn't justify the price, and this is not even a very light shade, so I'm going to be taking a little bit more. So I took everything that was on the back of my hand and then now reapplying the blush just so that I can show you the intensity of this and how beautifully it actually blends out. Both of it blended out seamlessly, and I feel like they look good side by side. I feel like you can't even really make out a difference between both, and this is how they look like swatched side by side. Can you see how the Rare Beauty one has already started to fade on my skin, whereas the e.l.f. is looking a little bit more vibrant and it looks a little bit more predominant on the face. So that's my problem with Rare Beauty blush. No matter how much I apply it, around like once I'm done blending it, it almost disappears from my face, and I have to be very like heavy-handed with the blush, which I don't like to do. And also, yeah, I feel like the e.l.f. one looks exactly the same. It's not like it's exaggerating anything, emphasizing any texture on my face. Even the Rare Beauty one is a dewy formulation. This one is also pretty dewy on the face. And like I mentioned, I cannot see any shimmer or anything that's left on my face, not like anything is clinging on. So I would just stick to the e.l.f. blush. Now for bronzer, I have this Too Faced bronzer. This is in the shade Chocolate Soleil, and this is a really nice undertone, so it's not too warm, not too cool. And I feel like the alternative for that is actually a pressed powder from K Beauty. This is a face powder. This one is in the shade 190 Deep, and it has that same undertone. Can you see it? Of course, K Beauty one is a little bit more pigmented. Too Faced wouldn't show up on you if you are anywhere deeper than my skin tone. Now taking the K Beauty powder on this side, it is very soft, very finely milled. It has quite a lot of kickback, so just keep that in mind, but it's pretty good formulation. So now for a pressed powder, this one is the Easy Bake and Snatch pressed powder from Huda Beauty. This one is in the shade Banana Bread, and this is how it looks like. It's like a very like light yellow shade, and I don't find this to be as smooth as their loose powder. It does look a little bit cakey on my skin and can exaggerate the lines underneath my eyes if I set it. So taking this Huda Beauty Easy Bake on this side and applying it underneath my eyes. I ideally don't like to set my concealer, but I'm just going to show you guys that I have a similar product to this. Like as soon as I applied the concealer that was looking so smooth, it started to cake up a little bit. Now for this side, I have this Faces Canada Banana Compact Powder. Actually, any banana powder pretty much works like this one itself, because it's not that unique of a formulation like their loose powder is. I know everything is hyped on the internet, so it's up to you to decide. But for me, I feel like it's very, very similar to most of the compact powders I own. I also have one from NYX, the HD Finishing Powder. HD powder in the shade Banana. It's a pressed powder. It's not available anymore, but that is super finely milled and it's a very good pressed powder. And this is what they look like side by side. I feel like the Faces one is a lot less drying. It's so much more smoother and for a fraction of the cost. Just because it's such a marketed viral product doesn't mean you have to buy it, and doesn't mean it's always the best, you know. There are some affordable alternatives too. These brands have such good marketing techniques, and they have the budget, they have the people to do it for them. And most people would just want to be on the good books of such a big, huge brand. But I would stick to this. I mean, if you ask me, I would stick to that. And then for setting mist, on this side I have the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. This is also one of my favorite. It keeps the makeup in place. It takes off all of that powderiness. So just give it a good shake and then keep it away. I mean, if the brand is going to reformulate or something, I wish they change up the nozzle of this, because the dupe I have has such good nozzle that spritzes the product out so evenly. Let me just show it to you guys. This one is the e.l.f. Stay All Night Micro Fine Setting Mist. I love the nozzle of this. I love the finish this gives my skin. It just makes the makeup look 10 times better. It has a little bit of a fragrance to it, but I like it. I don't know why. I find it to be very calming. Can you see how easily it splits the product out? It wouldn't mess up your eye makeup if you had any, and it wouldn't leave like droplets or squirt out the product on your face. One thing is that blurring primer from Renee is much better than the glowish one. Here I can see my pores are more predominant than this side, which I use the Renee Bollywood filter primer. Can you see that? anyways, let's move on to mascara. For the high-end side, I have the Max Stack mascara. It's one of my favorite mascaras. It's so long wearing. I think this is in the washable variant. They also have a waterproof one, lengthening, volumizing. It has a good wand like this, and let me just show you instead of talking about it. It has such good amount of length and volume, and it also gives that curl and lift, but it's also pretty black. And what I really like is that it doesn't have that powdering dry formulation where after a while it would powder down your face, it look very like dry and muddy. It doesn't have that kind of a formulation. And the dupe that is recommended on the internet, really common dupe, is the L'Oreal Panorama mascara. I feel like it's a pretty good dupe. Okay, like in the beginning I didn't want to agree to it. It has a little bit of a more flexible wand, and let me just show this as well. I feel like this is a little bit more volumizing than the MAC one, and the MAC mascara actually separates your lashes. This one just like adds a lot of volume, but yeah, and it's pretty black on its own as well. Yeah, it's actually a pretty good dupe, you guys. Pretty good. If in fact I feel like this is a little bit better. So yeah. Now for lip. For lip liner, I have this Huda Beauty lip liner in the shade dark brown. It is pretty good, but I don't justify the price of this. Also, I find it to be a little bit too creamy, and sometimes it is actually bleeding on my lips, which is not the purpose of the lip liner that I'm looking for. And an affordable alternative we have is from Mars. This one is their lip liner in the shade Choco Butter, which is a pretty similar shade, I feel like. This has the exact same shade. This is a little bit better in terms of the Huda Beauty one, but this is a newer formulation of the Mars lip liner, which can be a little too creamy and bleed, but their older lip liners were so much better. Like I have a couple of shades, but this is the shade that I could match with the Huda Beauty one, but the older shades were really good. But this is also pretty good for the price. For the high-end lipstick, we have the Charlotte Tilbury lipstick in the shade So 90s. This is a beautiful brown, but with a lot of red undertones to it. It is a little bit of a different shade. It looks very common, but it's very different when you want to dupe it. And the dupe for this is the Color Bar Matte Me As I Am lip color, and this one is in the shade Stroke. I feel like the Color Bar one is a little bit more pigmented itself. It's a lot more creamy. It's very nice. So if you wanted to just save your money, you can just stick to the Color Bar one. But I really like the Charlotte Tilbury lipstick itself. Okay, it doesn't have the pigmentation that Color Bar does. So this is the comparison between the affordable and the high-end dupes that I have. Sometimes I feel like just the affordable side just looks so much better, especially the concealer, the powder, the blush, and the lipstick itself. It just looks so much more nicer. Even the mascara actually, like it looks so much more voluminous. So just because it's affordable, we don't really have to knock it. We don't really have to trash it. Of course, you can stick to your favorites. Nobody is forcing you to buy these products. It is for people who are looking for alternatives or on a budget, like I mentioned previously as well. So if you wanted to save your money, you can. And I like the corrector side. I like the concealer. I like the concealer. I like the corrector. I like the blush. I like the powder. Everything just looks so much nicer, you know. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know what other dupes you'd like to watch on my channel. Like if you want any particular product to be duped, any like range of products to be duped, let me know in the comments down below. And also if you want to watch any particular video, let me know, like any review or anything, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll try to get my hands on them. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, give this video a big thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload a new video. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.